Hi, and welcome to another episode of Utah Crossbow Hunter, where today we're going to be talking about thorns, swackers, and hackers. What am I talking about? Let's find out. Okay, before we get started with today's show, remember, hit that subscribe button right down there, right down below. Go ahead and hit it right now. Get it out of the way. And hit that thumbs up at the same time and ring that bell so you know when new episodes are coming along your way. So let's get back to the show. Okay, so we're talking about thorns, swackers, and hackers. What we're going to be talking about? Broadheads. And there's a lot of broadheads out there. Some are great, some are not so great. We'll talk a little bit about the difference between a mechanical broadhead and a fixed broadhead, and what do you want to look for. So, I mean, there's a lot of different varieties of broadheads out there. So, I'm just going to bring up a few today. There's a lot of them out there. It's going to be your preference on what you want. Because you see on the Facebook, the YouTube pages of this one doesn't do this, this one doesn't do this, or whatever. Okay, it's going to be your preference, and everybody has a preference of what type of broadhead that they want to use. So, and you, then this, it's again, it's all going to be at your price range, and most of them are pretty expensive. Yeah, pretty expensive, and you get like 3 in a pack. And I'm sure the reason they're so expensive is because there's a lot of technology that goes into making these, and the materials that they're using to make these broadheads. So this is my broadhead that I use. I use the Thorn broadhead, and I like it. That's my preference. The reason I like it, well, let's see here. You know, to me, when you look at the broadhead, it's to me it looks more like a field tip, even though it's a little bit longer. Okay, so but one thing you want to remember, broadheads are made for not only crossbows, but for compound bows. So you got to make sure when you buy your broadhead and you're looking at your broadhead that it's for a crossbow. Okay, because there's more power behind a crossbow than there is a compound bow. So there is going to be a difference. And the shaft size, the insert, is going to be a different size. Okay? So like for me, I use the ones I have is the Thorn 100 grain 2.2 Rift expandable broadhead packet. As you can see, $69.95. A little expensive. Here's a new one that they got going out. The Thorn Crown 125 grain. It's a fixed blade broadhead. But again, you got to look at, go with your state's cutting size. Okay. I believe mine here is an inch and 7/8. I have to double check that, but I think that's what it is. But you want a good blade that's going to cut really big. You want to make that good, solid, wide path through the animal. You know, they got this 3-pack here, 100 grain, 3-pack here. So let's just bring up the Rift here real quick. Okay. And the nice thing about the Thorn broadheads is that you can also use that same broadhead for sighting in your crossbow, because they got these little collars that go around the broadhead, and of course they got these inserts to hold the blade in. So this is what they look like. Okay, let's see. So, you know, the insert. Let's see. They have a picture of those on here. I don't think they do. But I do have a video on the Thorn broadheads that you can go back and look at, and I'll put a link to that at the end of the show today. Yeah, I mean the thorn broadheads, they're great. Then you have the Rage. They're by, I'm going to destroy this name, Ferdinand Outdoors. I think that's the ones, the manufacturers of the Rage. You know, everybody loves, a lot of people love the Rages. I personally, I don't like the Rages, just because of the difference in the practice tips that they sent and the actual uh, um, Rage broadhead. I think I got the one I got is the hypodermic. I don't got the Trypan. I wonder if they got it on here on their site here. But yeah, I got one of the Rages, and I was having issues with the collars, the weights, and stuff. So I wanted something where I could use everything, and that's what I did. That's why I went with the thorn broadheads, because everything is right there. You can use it for practice and take it out shooting. So, what you practice with, you take out. So they're all sighted in, and they're really, and so they're good. The G5 Montec, you know, it's a fixed blade. Broadhead, but they got the 3-blade. Then they have the Striker 4-blade. Then of course they have the mechanical broadheads. Again, you're going to have to know which one. Montex is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Montex. You know, they're just another form of a broadhead. So the thing with those is that you probably can practice with those. Maybe if they're all the same weight, maybe one of them that you can use to sight in and take the rest of them out. Ravin has their own broadheads for their line. Let's see here. Here they have. Oh, that's my computer. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so here's the Ravin. They have the titanium broadheads, Ravin steel broadheads, aluminum broadheads. So you know they have their own that they recommend. Obviously, that they're going to recommend for their crossbows. The SWAT. You know, there's different broadheads here. Looks like some could be for compound, some could be for crossbow. You know, usually they're the 100 grain, 125 grain tips that you're going to find. This is a Spitfire for crossbows. Because you know what, the one thing you want to make sure is that tip. You know, depending on your broadhead, you can have the chisel tip. You're going to have, you know, like the this type of tip here. I don't know exactly what they call that tip on these, but you know, it's for good penetration. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so there's the tip, you know, a little bit different. You got the Ramcat. Ramcat also makes some for like turkey and stuff like that, small game. You know, you hear a lot of people, you know, swear by the Ramcat. So let's go over here. Let's just bring up mechanical broadheads. So you know, you got that, you know, a reverse type, I guess you could call it, like a chisel head on there. You got this type of Ramcat here. You got a different one here. So Ramcat's, you know, got a few different ones there. Let's see. And you got Excalibur has their own type of broadhead that they recommend. You know, they got the bolt cutter. Looks like a fixed broadhead. Another bolt cutter here. Then they got their Trailblazers. So, and of course, they got their own field tips. X-Action 100 grain. But the thing I say is, if you want, I'll put a link to it at the end of my video about the reason why I went from or using the Thorn broadheads compared to the Rage and anybody else out there, because the flight is important. Because obviously shorter, you might be able to get away with it, you know, your broadhead being off a little bit, but further out, probably not. Okay, so it's all going to depend on, again, what you want. Okay, I'm not sponsored by Thorn or anything, so, but that's my preference. Okay, and there's a lot of sites out there that give like the 10 best crossbow broadheads in 2020. Okay, you know, they give their recommendations. You know, like the G5 Outdoor Montec broadhead, Rage, Swackers, Grim Reapers, New Archery Products, the Spitfire, Caliber, Rage, Mossy, the Grim Reaper again, the Slick Trick, okay, Viper, Four Trick. So, you know, they give their what they feel, okay, on broadheads. And this one here has pros and cons that are listed on here. You know, like for the Rage, this is one of the problems Rage has. The retention collar can come off, okay, and it can't hold the blade tightly. So you look at some of that stuff. So I mean, there's the Swackers here, you know, made cheaply. Blade maybe find it a bit wide. So I mean, there's just, again, you know, these sites are great. You know, the top 10, top 20. I got another one over here, the 7. Okay, mechanical and fixed for 2020. It's all going to be, again, your preference. Okay, it's basically do your research. Okay, and I said hackers. All right, so when I say hackers, I mean these imitation companies like made in China. Okay, you want to stay away from those. The simple fact is, you want your blades razor sharp. If they can't cut the hair on your arms, then they're no good. All right, because the tip, from the tip down, has got to be sharp. It's got to be able to go through bone. All right, because you're not always going to hit right in the heart and lung area. For whatever, you know, the animal may have moved when you pull the trigger, may have jumped the string, as they call it, when you pull the trigger. So you want things that are sharp, razor sharp. And these stuff that comes from China, you look at the price, so $15 for 3 broadheads. Oh yeah, I'm going to jump on that. But just be cautious when you click on it. Like if you do it on Amazon, if you do it on eBay or whatever, watch where it comes from. I can't stress that enough. And like I told you in my other videos, China does not make good quality stuff. They're imitations. Okay? So stay away from those. Okay? Okay, so with that said, how about we come back with some final thoughts? Okay, so we'll come back with some final thoughts here. We've talked about crossbows, the different manufacturers, types of crossbows. We've talked about the arrows, what to stay away from, what to look for in arrows. Um, we've talked about, let's see, arrows, scopes. There's a lot of different types of scopes out there. Um, Again, it's your preference, your price range, or whatever. Now we're talking about broadheads. So again, its bottom line is do your research. Your research. Look at YouTube pages. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. Okay, but also remember, somebody might say, "Oh, the limbs break really easy. The string gets worn really easy. The arrows don't shoot straight. The broadheads don't open up, or whatever." Okay, that might be just an isolated incident. Okay, when I say isolated, okay, I've got a Carbon Express and I've got a Centerpoint. I've seen both those on YouTube saying, "Oh, they're bad crossbows because the limbs break, they crack, whatever." Okay, I haven't had any issues with them. Okay, you might, so it's just like I said, just do your research on those. Okay, don't just listen to one individual say, "Hey, this is bad," and you go, "Okay, move on to another one," because you might lead yourself down the wrong path. And I don't want to see you going down the wrong path. The middle of the road stuff is still great stuff. Okay, but again, the two important things are your arrows and your broadheads. Your arrows have got to be able to shoot straight, and your broadheads have got to open up on impact. Okay, so what does that mean is your crossbow has to be sighted in perfectly with your scope, and everything's going to be set up on your preference on how you do it. Okay, so with that said, family first. Take care of your family. By all means, get out there and hunt, and have some good holidays coming up, and may Santa put your dream crossbow, scope, arrows, and broadheads in your stocking. And thank you for watching Utah